Hey everyone, Steven here, and today I'm reviewing the X10 Mechanic Master Controller from EasySMX. Now, I've never used any of their other controllers, but this one is really good. I like this controller, and if you're in the market for one and you don't want to go with a regular Xbox controller or some of the other brands, this is a really good one to consider. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the specs here, starting off with the compatibility, because this is compatible with PC, Nintendo Switch, Steam Deck, iOS, or Android, and because you can connect this to a PC, it will work with any Windows-based device like the ROG Ally or Legion Go. So if you're looking at handhelds that are Windows-based, this will work with that as well. This has a USB dongle for a 2.4 gigahertz connection, or this can be used via Bluetooth, or you can use this wired as well. This has a 1000 milliamp lithium battery with a charging time of 2 to 3 hours from 0 to 100%, and the use time with that, if it's at a full charge, you can get 15 to 21 hours depending on vibration levels, and the controller weighs 355 grams. The polling rate here is 1000 Hertz when it is wired, but it's only 250 when it's in the wireless mode, which is a lot lower, but personally I haven't noticed any input latency or lag or unregistered buttons or anything like that when it comes to the wireless mode, regardless of whether or not I'm using the USB dongle or I'm using this via Bluetooth. Now this has swappable faceplates, which is really cool. You get to change this and make this look how you want. We have the kind of silver and then the white here. You also have a purple version of this if you wanted to get that also. Inside of the box, you're going to have the controller, the 2.4 gigahertz receiver, the magnetic faceplates, and I do like that they are magnetic because it makes it easy to swap these out. You have the Type-C cable and then the instruction manual. Now visually this looks like an Xbox controller, but with some nice upgrades under the hood here, like the mechanical buttons, which I really wish Xbox would switch over to. The A, B, X, Y buttons are micro switches. The D-pad is a metal dome, and back buttons are tact switches, which all of these provide a faster response and stronger feel, and I'll do a sound test for all of the buttons in a little bit. This has advanced Hall joysticks that don't have any noticeable dead zones after testing this in various games. You have the basics on the front also with the home, start, and back buttons. This also has a settings button, which is for adjusting this in the Android app. Unfortunately, I don't have any Android-based devices I can use the app with, so I couldn't test this out. I'd say not having a Windows or iOS version of this is a big letdown, because if you don't have an Android-based device like myself, you can't get the app at all right now, so hopefully we do see that down the road. Towards the bottom of the front of the controller, you have the LED light indicator that will tell you mode, connection, and battery life. Shifting to the actual bottom of the controller, you have a turbo button and then the vibration adjustments button. The turbo button is an auto fire setting you can use, and I'll showcase footage of the manual here to cover the full details of what this does. So you have two different modes. You have manual auto fire. With it, you're going to press T and A for the first time. When you hold down the A button, A will achieve continuous trigger. And then you have automatic auto fire. Press T and A for the second time. You click the A button and A will achieve a continuous trigger. If you don't want this anymore, cancel auto fire, press T and A for the third time, and this will actually cancel that function. You have two notes down at the bottom. If you press the turbo plus back button, it reduces the auto fire speed. If you press the turbo plus start button, it increases the auto fire speed. And then if you press and hold the turbo button for 5 seconds, it actually clears everything and resets it back to the normal function. For vibration adjustments, this goes from 0 to 100% in increments of 25%. So although I don't have the app for certain adjustments, I do like that you can adjust a lot of things just off of the controller itself. This does have a 6-axis gyroscope that can be utilized with Nintendo Switch or PC games if that option is available. Moving to the back of the controller, you have two programmable buttons, the M1 and M2. In the manual, it gives you a breakdown of how to do this step by step. In the middle, you have a mode toggle button, which you can switch from off to the USB dongle receiver, Bluetooth mode, and then Nintendo Switch. The LED indicator light on the front will be blue for Bluetooth and the USB dongle, and purple for the Nintendo Switch. Last, you have the little reset pinhole if you need to fully reset the controller. Next, let's go ahead and get into the quick sound test of all of the mechanical switches here. And actually, I'll just test all of the buttons so you can hear what they sound like. Last thing I want to cover here is the price. This is $49.99. Now, originally when the company reached out to me, the pricing that they mentioned was $89.99. So this is $30 less than that. So I'm judging this controller not only off the features and everything, but also how much it cost. I think this is an incredible price. $50 for all the features that this has is really good. Now, this isn't on Amazon just yet, but the second it is, I will have that link in the description. So currently, I'm just going to put the main website's link in the description so you can pick this up if you want. They have their other controllers on Amazon right now, but aesthetically, this one is the most appealing in my opinion compared to those. But with this controller, you do get a 1-year warranty and a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you don't like it in that first 30 days, you can get your money back. So now that I've covered all of these specs, let's get into the things that I like about this controller, starting with the performance, which is the thing that matters most here. And performance across the board is really good. I haven't had any issues with input lag or latency or unregistered buttons or anything like that. Now, in a wired version, you get the 1000 hertz polling rate. Wireless is 250. That is lower than I would like, but I'm also not seeing any effects of that personally, meaning drop signal, again, input lag, latency, anything like that. So performance for me across the board has been really, really good. And that's regardless of the mode. So if I'm using Bluetooth over the USB dongle, or if I'm using this with a Nintendo Switch, across the board, performance has been really good. Next, I really like the rapid fire feature. It's not something that I personally use a lot, but I like that there because I can see the use case for it, where if there is a game where usually there's an action where you have to constantly pull down the trigger, you won't need to do that. You can literally hold it down and it's as if you're giving those inputs over and over and over again. I could see that potentially working with something like Minecraft or any type of other builder, or if you're doing something like Fortnite potentially, or maybe a game where there is a mining element to it. Regardless, I like that this feature is here. Do keep in mind that if you accidentally press this, you're going to think that something's going wrong with the controller. I thought that. I actually reached out to the company. I was like, I don't know what's going on with the trigger. I didn't realize that I actually hit that button. And so I thought there was an issue. I reset it, you hold it down for 5 seconds, and then everything went back to normal. So again, just be mindful of accidentally hitting that causing something going on, because in a shooter I would go to zoom with the weapon and it would sit there and it would zoom in and out really, really fast, and I was like, what is going on? And it was because I accidentally hit that button. And speaking of the buttons, I love the feel of all of these. They have that mechanical switch feel, which I really, really like. And again, I mentioned this earlier, I really wish that Xbox would move their main controller over to this feel. It just feels more responsive. I think it's just a better feel personally. And I like that they have it for the D-pad, the ABXY buttons, and then the right and left shoulder buttons as well. Next, I like the magnetic plates here. I like that you get the 3 different sections that you could trade out. So you have the main faceplate, and we only have white and then kind of the silver color with that, but you also have the bottom of the grips, and with that you get black and then you get white. I'd like to see down the road options to buy other faceplates on their website. I think that would be really, really cool, where you just kind of, yeah, mix and match your colors. You could pick anything that you want, or maybe they work with some various artists for like curated faceplates that are really cool looking. I just see a lot of potential with that. I like that it is here. It gives you some more options, but again, hopefully we see an expansion of that down the road. Last here, I think the battery life is pretty solid. We get 15 to 21 hours. It's not going to match something like an Elite 2 controller where you get up to 40 hours, but with the 15 to 21, I think they nail a very good middle of the road here. Some of the battery packs you can see that you can pair with a regular Xbox controller, you may get 25 to 30 hours, so it can be a little bit better, but you're also looking at this extra cost on top of getting the Xbox controller, where this only cost $50 and you're getting 15 to 21 hours. You're getting really good, just solid battery life without needing to do anything else, which I mentioned price there for a second. I think that's a big selling point too. Like at $50, this to me feels just like an Xbox controller. Performance has been solid. I like the buttons in terms of the feel of the switches over a regular Xbox controller. You get the swappable magnetic faceplates. You get a feature like the rapid fire. All this stuff, good battery life at a price point that if I'm looking at, hey, I'm just going to buy a regular Xbox controller, those are usually $59 to $69. So this is cheaper than that. But the caveat there is going to be, I would have to be buying an Xbox controller with the intent of only using it on a PC, because this only works on the PC, Android, iOS, Steam Deck, and then the Nintendo Switch. So no Xbox. I'd definitely say that that's, to me, a little bit odd. I would like to see that in there. Now, again, they have controllers that are specific to Xbox. They have controllers that are specific to the PlayStation 5 or the Nintendo Switch. They add in an Xbox because that is a Windows-based device. I think that would be a bigger selling point for this, because I think a lot of people may look at this. Maybe they're not going to use it on any of those platforms, but they wanted to use this on an Xbox. You don't have that option. So as long as you know what this works with and you go into it with the intent of, yes, I'm going to use it on one of those platforms, I think most people are going to be extremely happy with this controller. Moving on to the things that I don't like, I only have one, and it's that right now the app only works on Android. I really want to see this brought over to iOS and to Windows so that we can make adjustments in that software as needed with this, instead of just solely relying on the controller. Again, I mentioned this earlier, you can adjust a lot of things on just the controller, which is nice, but missing the app on Windows and iOS, it just feels like there's a huge missing component to this if you don't have an Android-based device, which again, I don't have, so I couldn't test this out. But that is it. I don't have any other negatives in terms of the performance here or the other features that you find on the controller. It's really just the fact that we are lacking on Windows and iOS, the app right now. I do hope that they eventually port this over and give us the option for anybody that is on iOS or Windows, the ability to download that. Next, we have the gray area section on this, which are things you may or may not care about. One I actually kind of covered, which was I would like more options for the faceplates on the website. That's something that this is just now launching, so hopefully down the road we would see that. That would be really cool. And the only other thing is, I think, and this is super picky with this, I don't know that anybody really cares. Again, this is kind of the gray area here, but if they took the LED light from the bottom and then just put it into the home button, aesthetically, I think it would look better than having the separate LED light at the bottom. I don't know if that was an issue with how they were designing this potentially though, but I think you would eliminate that light at the bottom, put it into the home button, much like an Xbox controller, and visually I just think it would look a lot better. But that is it. So with this controller, just a lot of upside. One thing to keep in mind with the app, and then just the two things to kind of consider when it comes to this. But even with that gray area stuff, I don't think these are anything where it would be, hey, you should think about this before you buy it. It's just things that came to mind like, oh, I wish it was like this. Maybe other people agree with me. So again, performance is a thing that matters, and this is really solid on the performance side. So that's actually going to wrap this video up. This is a really good controller. I'm actually using this with the third PC that I have in the house here, and it's just been really nice to grab this, do long gaming sessions. It doesn't cramp my hands or anything like that. It just feels Very comfortable, great performance. Again, just a ton of upside with this controller. So I have a link for this in the description. Once the Amazon link for this goes up, I will make sure that is there as well. But in the meantime, if you have any questions about this, let me know in the comment section so I can answer those questions for you there. And that's going to wrap this video up. So if you guys like the video, hit the like button for me as it helps the channel out. If you want to continue to follow along with all my content, hit the subscribe button for me. And as always, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.